Hello and welcome back to Jenna Gets Creative. As promised yesterday, today we're doing another holiday upload video centered around a Christmas carol. Today I'd like to talk about Silent Night. Yes, that is the track playing in the background. I honestly wouldn't have picked this jazzy rendition, but I'm trying my best to stick to just using YouTube's own audio library, and the only instrumental versions of Silent Night available are jazzy. I didn't want to put ones in with vocals because, as someone who's partially deaf myself, I know if you have any amount of trouble hearing and understanding the speaker in videos, it really doesn't help to put the main voice of the footage over other vocals. On that note, just in case you happen to be one of the roughly 15% of my viewers who do turn on subtitles/captions, I select the language designation English UK on all my videos since I'm Canadian and we use British spelling. So if you're looking for the caption file I've edited, make sure the video is showing you the UK version of the English subtitle file. I try my best to delete the automated captions file, but sometimes they do pop back up after, as if the English captions are missing, even though they aren't, just because my edited file isn't the American English file. And yes, I know my caption files aren't perfect. I leave the line breaks up to YouTube's system to decide because their caption editing isn't that great to work with. If you've heard me mention that I do sometimes freelance for Rev, I promise I do break captions up more sensibly there. It's far easier with their captioning tool. I really wish those of us who work for Rev could make use of their tools for free without paying to put our own jobs in the system and most likely having a colleague claim it and do it, or else doing it ourselves only to have it go to a higher up to grade it and tell us we messed up the style guide. Yeah, that'd be a mess. So I make that concession. I let YouTube do the line breaks. But at least they make sense. They're not the infamous automated craptions. Also on the same note, if you're bilingual or even multilingual, if you're bilingual or even multilingual and you're willing to translate caption files, please feel free to submit translations on any of my videos. I do have community contributions turned on. I would very much appreciate the help making my videos accessible to a wider audience. I will run what I get through a translator back to English to make sure no funny business has been inserted, as unfortunately that does happen, but if you submit an honest translation, I will accept it, and YouTube will then list and link you as a contributor somewhere in the description area. How cool is that? Good way to put your name out there in yet another place for people to look at if you're a channel owner trying to gain an audience. By the way, if you're new here, I'd love it if you would subscribe and turn on notifications. Normally I upload twice a week at minimum, every Tuesday and Thursday, with bonus uploads on some weeks. This month I'm uploading holiday themed artwork every single day up to and including Christmas Day, and then I'll be taking a break over New Year's. Officially, I've got my channel schedule set to return on Thursday, July 9th, but if I can get enough extra stuff done ahead of time, I might have something scheduled to go up while I'm still away on the 2nd. If you like this video, don't forget to hit like and leave a comment down below. I love reading your comments. I appreciate the interaction with my videos, and I do reply to everyone. I feel like it's been a little while since I said so let me remind you, my content is intended for ages 14 and up, since I'm Canadian, and the Canadian media regulations equivalent of PG-13 is 14A. YouTube itself on the main platform is for ages 13 plus. If you've managed to get here and you're not old enough to be here, don't comment. Don't interact, go find something that's intended for you. As I mentioned, the carol I'd like to talk about today is Silent Night, and the piece I've chosen to pair it with is a Christmas card style inspired illustration of a cardinal on a branch in winter. Silent Night has always been one of my favorite Christmas carols, and I remember when I was young, I was always quite proud of myself for knowing the full song and not just the first and maybe second verses that get used in Christmas media all the time. It was the first Christmas carol I learned to play on the piano. It was always my favorite carol to get around to in the rotation when I participated in caroling, or whenever a caroling group came out to our door. That said, I also have some humorous and not so innocent stories to tell about Silent Night. I know of people who've got married in December, so Christmas music at the wedding reception was appropriate, who've had their loved ones prank them with this song. Of course, the lyrics include the line, "Round yon virgin, mother and child." Well, if the bride is not a virgin, then she might find herself being serenaded with "Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round yon ahem." And then they all run away and don't finish the song. Less innocent still, back in high school, some of my friends and I formed a perverted Christmas carols club of sorts. The whole point of the club was to secretly sing dirty versions of Christmas carols. The entry requirements were coming up with new dirty lyrics to a carol and being able to sing the group's rendition of Silent Night with a straight face. I'd like to sing it for you just for fun, but I don't want this video suppressed for being too inappropriate, and it has some rather explicit words in it. Let's just say, not only is Mary not a virgin, she is more of a lady of the evening. Round yon virgin, not anymore, she's a bleep and a bleep and a bleep. She's bleeped every guy on the block, now she can't get no more bleep. Yes, the lines ending in bleeps did rhyme with the previous ones, so you can probably figure them out. The reason I remember this so clearly is because there was one time when we were all singing this loud and proud in the hallways at school, and everyone else saw a teacher coming and stopped before reaching the end of that last line. Except me. Thankfully, the teacher wasn't paying attention to our modified lyrics. Did you and your high school friends get up to any shenanigans like that? Tell me one of your stories from high school in the comments down below. Before I wrap it up, I'd like to talk a little more about the piece. I always think of Cardinals as a Christmas thing, probably because they're red, and a lot of Christmas art on cards and wrapping paper, etc. does feature Cardinals often. I've also always been drawn to them because my favorite color is red. That said, I've never seen one in person. The northern cardinal is present in the southern regions of eastern mainland Canada, but I grew up in British Columbia, which is the most western province in the country. Cardinals really only spread up north on the eastern side of the continent, and even then they just barely cross into Canada in Ontario, Quebec, and mainland maritime provinces. So since I had never seen one in person, and when artwork and photos I saw of them either featured just cardinals or they were part of illustrated collages of different birds all drawn in the same size, I looked at them and thought they looked quite similar to blue and stellar jays, just red. A few years ago, I looked them up for some reason, and I was very surprised to find that they aren't jays. Both cardinals and jays are birds in the order Passeriformes. Jays fall into the family Corvidae, and cardinals fall into the superfamily Passeroideae, family Cardinalidae. The order Passeriform means that these birds are passerines, which are perching birds or songbirds. Over half of the world's birds fall into this order. Crows, ravens, jays, magpies, and a few other types of birds are corvids. They're the largest species in the passerine order, usually highly intelligent, and all members except for the pinyon jay have a ridge of feathers over the base of their beaks that cover their nostrils. I used to think cardinals fit into this category because to me they looked like jays, and I figured they should just have been called red jays. Cardinal family species are much smaller, and although nearly half of the members are considered masked, a feature which makes them appear at a glance to have the extra feathers at the base of their beak, they're actually shaped and feathered much more like a crested variety of a finch. The brilliant red birds we see all over Christmas decor labeled as cardinals are usually the northern cardinal or the vermilion cardinal. The northern cardinal has a very jay-like crest and usually a bright red beak. The vermilion cardinal is crested a little more like some parrot species and typically has a gray beak. The desert cardinal is shaped somewhere in between and has splashes of red mixed into an otherwise dusty gray body. Other members of the Cardinal family are all sorts of other colors, ranging from brilliant yellows and greens to dark blues and even black. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Tomorrow we're heading to Northern Europe for part 1 of 2 days of Nordic Christmas folklore. See you then!